Story 1. My uncle, recognizing my availability and trustworthiness, graciously extended an invitation for me to take on the significant responsibility of house-sitting while he embarked on a family vacation in Europe. Prior to his departure, my aunt and cousin had already set out, leaving my uncle behind temporarily due to some lingering business obligations that demanded his attention. Once he successfully wrapped up his professional tasks, he deemed me fit to oversee the household in his absence for an extended period. Acknowledging my eagerness to delve into the experience of solo living, he imparted clear instructions, urging me to refrain from inviting friends over or spending an excessive amount of time in the yard. While the precise rationale behind these directives eluded me at the time, I couldn't help but speculate that it might be linked to the considerable snow accumulation, posing a potential safety concern. As a parting gesture before bidding his family farewell, my uncle not only provided me with meticulous instructions on house maintenance, but also ensured that the refrigerator was well stocked with an ample supply of food to sustain me during his absence. Initially, the prospect of living alone surpassed my expectations, offering a newfound sense of comfort and freedom. However, the tranquility was abruptly shattered one fateful night when an unsettling noise stirred me from my slumber. More bewildered than frightened, I hastily surveyed the dark surroundings, their only illumination coming from the intense moonlight pouring through the window. Driven by curiosity, I ventured to check if it was snowing, only to discover that not only was it snowing, but a full-blown blizzard was unfurling outside. Puzzled, I redirected my attention to the noise, now emanating from the front door downstairs. At this juncture, my heart quickened, gripped by apprehension about the unfolding events. Descending the stairs, I illuminated the entire house by turning on all the lights, peering through the front door's peephole, but finding nothing. Cautiously cracking the door open, I discerned footprints leading directly to it. Startled, I hastily slammed the door shut, locking it, and found myself wondering who could possibly be outside in such inclement weather. Muttering under my breath, I deliberated on the next course of action while surveying every nook and cranny of the house. Gazing through the back door's glass, all I could perceive was darkness and snow. Yet, through the falling snowflakes, I caught a fleeting glimpse of a small figure, a child, no older than 9 or 10, braving the blizzard and walking away. Alarmed and deeply concerned for the child's well-being, I rushed upstairs to retrieve my phone, dialed 911, and promptly reported the unsettling situation. As I peered out of the back window into the snowy darkness, there was no sign of the child when the police arrived. Providing them with a meticulous and detailed account of the events, our conversation was momentarily interrupted by a soft knock at the front door. One officer instructed me to stay put while they conducted a thorough investigation. To my immense surprise, the same child from earlier was brought inside by an officer, clad only in a light sweatshirt despite the freezing weather. The child seemed profoundly lost, offering minimal responses to questions and displaying an almost blank expression. The entire situation was surreal and perplexing, leaving me with a multitude of unanswered questions. Weeks later, with my uncle safely back and no longer requiring my assistance, the mystery surrounding the boy persisted. The child claimed that the house I was in was his home, yet another family positively identified him as their missing child from several months prior. As the peculiar events continued to unfold, with yet another missing child found near my uncle's house, I found myself incessantly questioning every aspect of the situation. The circumstances seemed too coincidental, prompting me to contemplate the unsettling possibility of my uncle's involvement in something unknown. Despite the authorities conducting a thorough inspection of the house, and my uncle cooperating fully, the unsettling occurrences hinted at a mystery that stubbornly remained unresolved. Story 2. Winter stands as my favored season, holding a special place in my heart. There's an undeniable enchantment in the gentle descent of snowflakes and the festive spirit that consistently elevates my mood. However, residing in a notably cold state introduces its unique set of challenges, particularly the substantial snowfall that blankets the landscape during the winter months. Juggling a part-time role as a DoorDash driver for nearly 3 years, I found myself navigating through the snowy conditions, adding an extra layer of complexity to my responsibilities. The roads took longer to get plowed, and the persistent heavy snowfall rendered them treacherous. Despite the inherent difficulties and occasional impossibility of the job, I often found myself choosing to brave the intense snow and covered roads. The seemingly counterintuitive logic behind this decision stemmed from the realization that, on such days, fewer people ventured onto the roads. Fellow DoorDash drivers were likely to stay home, providing me with increased access to orders and the prospect of earning more money. Additionally, customers tended to express their appreciation through more generous tips, understanding the challenges of making deliveries during a blizzard. One particular winter, in the middle of December, a night of heavy snowfall unfolded. I commenced my deliveries later than usual, around 7 or 8, owing to my commitments at another job. Nevertheless, the DoorDash app was already presenting high-paying orders, setting the stage for an eventful night. Having completed 2 relatively swift deliveries, I found myself on the way back from a house when the snowfall intensified. The visibility became abysmal, and the roads, not plowed frequently enough, posed a considerable challenge. Despite my car boasting all-wheel drive and all-season tires, the relentless snow made navigation a demanding task. Approaching a stop sign, I barely discerned something large in the middle of the road ahead. Reacting swiftly, I slammed on the brakes, successfully stopping my car in time. However, the back tire slid behind me, pulling my car off the road and into a thick layer of snow. Fortunately, the collision was soft, a low-speed incident. Nonetheless, my car was entirely stuck in the snow. Acknowledging the need for assistance, I maintained composure, activated my hazard lights, and promptly called for roadside assistance. The estimated arrival time ranged from 15 to 20 minutes. Grateful for the swift response, I leaned back in my seat, relieved that I hadn't accepted any more orders, simplifying the situation. As I waited, a flickering light in my side mirror caught my attention. An orange light softly flashed, gradually approaching, revealing a typical work vehicle with caution lights on top. Surprisingly, the man arrived within a mere 4 minutes of my call. Exiting the truck, he inspected my car and initiated the process of setting up the tow hook. Unfamiliar with the procedure, I observed as he examined the car, and unexpectedly, he opened my trunk. Puzzled and suspicious, I called roadside assistance again, reconfirming my location. The man returned to my window, requesting my keys and urging me to exit the vehicle. Feeling uneasy, I hesitated, explaining that I was on the phone and needed a moment. His aggressive tone and persistence heightened my suspicions. I locked my doors, and undeterred, the man attempted to pull my door open, yelling at me. Amidst the chaos, another man emerged from the truck, rushing towards my car with an object in his hand. Suddenly, a loud horn blared from behind, accompanied by bright lights shining at my car. The 2 men from the questionable vehicle hastily retreated, and the genuine roadside assistance truck arrived. The 2 men approached to ensure my well-being, having overheard the unsettling situation through my ongoing call. After notifying the police, I discovered that several similar cases had occurred during heavy snowfall. The modus operandi involved individuals posing as roadside assistants, targeting stranded motorists, stealing their cars and robbing them. Reflecting on the events, I consider myself fortunate and am now hesitant to drive in adverse conditions again. Story 3. In the early chapters of my life, my family and I embarked on thrilling journeys up north, seeking out unforgettable ice fishing adventures. We were fortunate enough to have friends who owned charming cabins nestled in a remote area, surrounded by the serene and untamed beauty of nature. The odyssey to our destination unfolded as a formidable undertaking, with the last semblance of civilization being a modest gas station roughly a mile away. Following that pit stop, we ventured through a 20 to 30-minute drive through seemingly untouched wilderness, completely immersing ourselves in the tranquil and picturesque landscape. As the first snowflakes gently descended from the sky, my thoughts were filled with anticipation about settling in, playing games, and escaping the 8-hour drive that had brought us to our snowy retreat. Upon our arrival, the timing coincided with the January sun, gracefully setting in the sky, casting a warm glow over the landscape. Fatigue had already begun to take its toll on our journey-worn selves. Our chosen cabin was equipped with smart locks, a modern convenience that streamlined entry by entering a designated code to obtain the key. However, as I approached the door, I couldn't ignore the curious tracks leading up to it. Mentioning this peculiar observation to my dad, he nonchalantly dismissed it as the handiwork of the cleaning person. Despite a fleeting moment of hesitation, I stepped into the cabin where I discovered a minor issue, a bit of water on the floor, presumably a remnant of the cleaning process. Other than that minor detail, everything seemed in order, reminiscent of my previous visits. As I unpacked in my designated room, the discovery of tracks once again caught my attention, this time originating from the nearby woods and leading towards our cabin. Fresh imprints in the snow hinted at recent activity, prompting concerns about potential intruders. Expressing my unease to my dad, we decided to embark on an investigation. However, by then, the snowfall had intensified, transforming into almost blizzard-like conditions. My dad reassured me that anyone who might have been there was likely long gone, and we proceeded with our evening plans of dinner and a movie to unwind. Later that night, an unusual disturbance interrupted my peaceful slumber. Thumping sounds on the wall, seemingly emanating from outside my window. Initially more annoyed than frightened, I ventured out to investigate the source but found nothing amiss. The tracks from the woods remained visible, and I took the precaution of locking the windows before returning to bed, feeling somewhat powerless in the face of the mysterious circumstances. The following day, my initially skeptical dad joined me to inspect the tracks. To our astonishment, human footsteps led from the woods to my bedroom window, then to the front door, and back into the woods. The isolated nature of our location, miles away from any other habitation or camping spot, deepened our concerns and heightened the sense of unease. Seeking guidance, my dad reached out to his friends, who, after a few hours, provided us with mini cameras to set up inside the cabin. Despite the inconvenience of the task, it seemed like a necessary precaution to ensure our safety. Heading to the lake for a day of fishing, we left our phones in the car while my mom diligently monitored the live camera feed. Upon our return, my mom discovered numerous notifications about movement sensed by the cameras. Alarmed, my dad's friend entered the cabin with a firearm, while my dad promptly called the police. Fortunately, no intruders were found, providing a momentary sense of relief. The mysterious aspect of this unsettling episode was that the cameras only provided live feeds and did not save any footage. Despite staying with my dad's friend for the next few nights, we continued to receive movement notifications from the cabin. Each time we rushed back, only to find nothing amiss inside. The unresolved mystery lingered, and my dad's friend mentioned that they never found out what was happening there. Subsequent visits to a different cabin yielded no unusual incidents, leaving us with lingering questions about the inexplicable occurrences that transpired in that isolated winter retreat.